Well, this time on Pole House Pot Weekend Getaways, it's too hot to camp. We fixed this classic. What is it gonna be? Stick around.
I think they're done, hon.
Well, it's 90-some degrees and it feels like 150 out here.
It's plenty warm.
Yes,
I think it's going to be worse this week.
And we are not cooking in our house.
Or we're not camping because it's
Too hot.
kind of too hot to camp. We really enjoy it. So we're going to fix a summertime, we think it's a good summertime,
Now,
cake.
there's a backstory to this cake.
We'll probably get into that while we're cooking it. But it's called, we have a question for you. Have any of you ever heard of a Harvey Wallbanger?
Well, this is a Harvey Wallbanger cake.
And I think it's this recipe was from a friend of mine that I used to work with, and she said it's a pretty old recipe because some of the things were even different that we even know about, as far as the pudding mix. It's got an instant vanilla pudding. It doesn't even say what size, and they have two sizes now, so we just assumed it was the smaller size because that's what they had years ago. But
now, the first time we fixed this was for your aunt and uncle.
That's right.
And we had to go to a local tavern
And buy,
and 2 shots, or we had enough for 2 cakes.
yeah, a little couple of ounces.
We made one a couple weeks before that, and then we made one for Denny and Pat. And
It's Galliano.
it's Galliano. So the next time they came, which was the next year,
'cause
Uncle Denny shows up with this.
Yeah, it says here. It's like, oh, okay.
We want Harvey Wallbanger cake.
Well, he didn't even, I don't even think he said it. I think he said he brought it up and said, okay, we know what you want.
We're not sure how much that big bottle cost, but we're figuring it wasn't very cheap.
And the thing is, it's how many years old now? It's almost gone finally.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what, 15?
Probably 15 years old.
15 years
yeah.
old. So, I mean, we put it someplace and we forget it's there.
Yeah, we don't use it too much. But
until we get ready to make Harvey Wallbanger cake. And then
So we're going to regroup, get things organized, and we'll come back and we'll start off with actually mixing up the cake. And then we'll get it put and show you how to cook it. We're doing a little bit different cooking method, too, in a Dutch oven. So we'll have to show you that,
we've
too.
done that before.
Well, it's never used this exact type of pan.
No.
So it'll be a little different. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to start by first, we're going to actually make this in a tube pan. And you can use a bundt pan if you like, but we're going to use a tube pan tonight because our bundt pan kind of sticks real bad. It's aluminum.
Well, it's old too. Yeah. I don't know how old.
We're using a tube pan. Now, the recipe says to grease and flour. So, we can always go around with a knife and cut inside and out, but the bottom still can be a problem. So what I did was I cut some parchment paper. And I'm going to put a little bit of, it says use grease, so we're going to use a little bit of butter. I'm going to put just a little bit in the bottom to kind of make sure that the parchment paper stays in the very bottom. Okay.
Mom had a recipe of something that she found out the hard way. When you don't flour and butter it, or butter it and flour, it didn't raise quite as well. So
that's what she come to the conclusion of, yes. And the thing is,
since this is such an old recipe,
and I think a lot of people have gotten out of the habit, and maybe they don't realize, we don't know for sure if that's a problem or not, but it very well could be. They've gotten out of the habit of doing it this old-fashioned way because they use cooking spray. Spray it with cooking spray and it's done, you know. And it's so easy in so many cases, but sometimes. So we're gonna, it's a nice, just don't need a ton, but you want to make sure that enough that it will
come out.
Hopefully come out, make a good looking cake. Okay, now I gotta degrease my fingers, debutter my fingers. Enough.
Okay, we'll be right back when we make, oh no.
We gotta get the flour in, remember?
Yeah, yep.
So it doesn't take a lot of flour, I don't know. We're just guessing. Just put enough in the bottom. And we can always put a little bit more. Well, probably a couple tablespoons. And basically all you need to do is shake it around.
Get it clear up on the sides.
Clear up on the sides. All the way. Anything you buttered or greased. And Crisco would work good for this too. Anything
yeah, but we like the flavor of butter.
And we want to make sure we get a little bit up here in the cone too. We'll just kind of use my fingers to make sure we get a little bit there. So you get all the way up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take it out here in the back. It won't hurt. It's flour. Dump it over the side of the house. Okay. Make sure I don't dump out the important part. Okay. That's it. Now we're going to set this aside. Wipe my hands off again.
And we'll be right back.
We'll be right back with actually making the cake. Okay, so I start with just a regular mixing bowl. Now, it starts actually with a cake mix.
What kind of cake mix?
Unfortunately, we're using yellow cake mix. The recipe calls for orange. And orange cake mix, for some reason,
especially in town here.
In town, maybe in other bigger places it's easy to find, but here we have a very hard time of finding orange cake mix. So we're going to have to improvise. So we're going to use orange cake mix and 1 instant vanilla pudding. Okay. Dump that together. Yeah, as far as the cake mix goes, you use the cake mix, but you ignore all the other instructions. Just use the mix. Okay, now I'm going to lightly mix that together. I'm going to wear more than I'm mixing. Mix that together while I make a mess all over the place. Okay, now we're going to put 4 eggs. 4 whole large eggs. Messy job. I'm going to break the eggs up just a little bit, and then we're going to add a ½ cup of oil. Mix it just enough to get the yolks broke up. Double check. Angel's got the recipe back over there. Double check me, Angel. Make sure I'm right. I kind of ran into it, but I want to make sure it's a ½ cup of vegetable oil.
½ cup of cooking oil.
This is vegetable. Probably use canola corn. 1/2 cup. Okay.
I wouldn't use peanut just for the people that might have peanut allergies.
But a vegetable-based canola or corn or something like that probably would work fine. Okay. Yes. Get it out. Okay, now we're going to incorporate these items together. This doesn't have to be totally incorporated because we're not done yet. Now, since we don't have an orange cake, we have yellow cake. To make it orangier, we're going to use some pure orange extract. And we're going to use a teaspoon. Bring home that orange flavor. Okay. Now, we've never done this, but I guess if you really liked orange, you could almost put a real orange zest in it. Probably wouldn't hurt it. We've never done it, but...
Well, and you can buy orange flavored vodka too.
Yes, that's right.
And you could use that in place of the orange flavoring.
Yeah.
But...
And speaking of vodka, a Galliano, in case we didn't show it before, is actually orange juice, vodka, and the Galliano, which is a liqueur of some type. I'm not for sure what, but... Okay, now, orange juice is next. And you remember how much that was?
Eggs, 3/4 cup of orange juice.
3/4 cup, okay. And this was frozen concentrate that we, of course, made to the package instructions. I think, what, 3 cans? Or
yeah.
3 cans of cold water. 3/4 cup.
It's supposed to make a half gallon. It was just a wee bit shy.
OJ. Now I think it's a 1/4 cup each, isn't it? Of vodka and
Yes, yes.
Right. Whatever kind of vodka you like. Of course, like Angel said, orange would be great. It's a 1/4 cup. Okay,
yeah.
Better stop. Get down here on eye level. And you may run out of this time, Angel. This may be the last part. We're gonna have enough for another one or not. I don't know.
Because that goes in the icing too.
A little bit in icing. Okay, add that. And that, I think, is not right, Angel. That is everything.
That's it.
Get this mixed in. Get it stirred together. Rough, didn't it?
Well, I think we did it the last time with a mixer. A pan,
Probably had needed a better
well, at least
mixing device than spatula.
yeah, it's working though.
Now, as you can see, it's almost come together. Took a little bit of work. You could probably, of course, use an electric mixer or something like that if you wanted to. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but we're outside and...
Or a whisk even.
Yeah, okay. I think that's it, right?
Yep,
now,
go ahead and pour it in there.
Get this out of the way. We're going to pour it into our greased and floured butt pan. See, Angel, if you'll carefully, this is kind of a two-person job. I'm going to start pouring.
Oh.
If you'll try to actually give it a little turn as we go. There. Evenly coat the try not to make too much of a mess. Get too much of a mess up on the sides and things. And if it's thin enough, it's going to go ahead and settle. So we can get the rest of this scooped out of here. Now, with it being a cake, it's kind of important to want to try to keep your Dutch oven fairly level for the cooking process. Sometimes when you're outside, it's a little bit tricky.
Well, you could be like Wade and run around with the level in the camper.
Well, sometimes I've been known to do that, haven't I?
Yeah, and he'll put sticks underneath the legs or rocks. He makes sure his Dutch oven's level.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do. Okay, now we're going to, Angel, to come over here. I've got my, now if you look down, get it down a side angle, Angel. This one, if you're not familiar with it, this is actually a 12-inch deep Dutch oven as opposed to the normal shallow. Still camp style, everything else is the same. But actually, I think it's about 1.5 inches higher.
So why do you have a rack in there, Wade?
I have a rack in here because the bottom of this tube pan, see there, is flat. And I want to have an even hook cooking like if you were doing an oven rack on the in the oven. So we're going to put a wire rack in the bottom and we'll actually set the cake down in. And if you look, it's not a lot of gap between the bottom of the lid and that. And we want to have in a tube pan recipe, the cake gets fairly high, top of the cake can get burnt and overdone before the bottom, or even the middle if it's too close to your lid. So that's another reason for the deep Dutch oven. This is actually, if you look online, it's actually, buy one. It's an 8-quart instead of a 6-quart Dutch oven. So now,
see, that fits on there just perfect.
We're gonna come right back here in just a few minutes, and I'll get charcoal going, and then we'll get this baking. We'll be right back. All right, we did 30 pieces of charcoal like we normally would do for a 12-inch shallow. And your 12-inch deep got more headspace in there and more space that you're going to be cooking with to heat up. So you usually need a little bit more. But since we are doing this rack, and on that rack is our bundt pan, excuse me, our tooth pan, we found out that a lot of that heat radiates up around on top. So that causes the top to get too hot and the bottom not hot enough. So we're going to move a little bit of the charcoal from the top to the bottom, put more heat on the bottom.
Yeah, I remember that one cake we did that had all the candies in it. We never could get it done in a Dutch oven, could we?
No, I think you're right.
And I think that's why. Well, the first time we did it, we put the tube pan right down flat. And we know why that didn't work.
We're gonna do, instead of 10, we're gonna do 12 on the bottom. We've never done this, so we hope it comes out.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Okay, and then we're just gonna do, still did the same way. We never put it in the middle. And then we're gonna leave our fork kind of in the middle here, like a checkerboard style. Right there. And then we'll put a nice even spread. And then I move one. Nice even checkerboard style on top. Now, this cake says, like most of your tube cakes or tube pan, they take about 45 to 55 minutes. So we're gonna cook this for about 30 minutes and probably add more charcoal. And since we're gonna be a longer cook time, we're probably only gonna rotate about every 15 minutes. So 15 minutes, we're gonna come back and rotate it and just let this thing cook. So we'll see you back in a few minutes.
Well, Wade gave me the job of making the glaze. So, the instructions say a little more liquid than what we think it needs. So,
I think it's a tablespoon and a half of each of the liquids, and we're going to cut it down to about a tablespoon.
In here, I've got a cup of powdered sugar. Yeah.
Cup of powdered sugar. Okay, we got it.
And then I'm going to start off with a tablespoon of each. A tablespoon of orange juice. Tablespoon of vodka. Ooh, more than a tablespoon of vodka. Oh well. And a teaspoon of Galliano. This is kind of sweet. We did taste it one time, didn't we?
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff, really.
Yeah, it is.
We actually decided a couple times and actually made a Harvey Wallbanger drink.
Yeah, we did. Okay, now we're going to mix this up a little bit. You know, I'm going to make sure that lid goes on there. That's kind of expensive stuff. Just mix it up. That's all there is to it.
And this is a glaze, not an icing.
Right.
So it's not real thick.
And the only thing you have to make sure of is that your powder, I guess we should have run our powdered sugar through a wire or sifted or something, yeah.
Certainly could.
Because it's a little
well, you can mix it a little bit around with your whisk and it'll come together.
Yeah, it is. Why don't you come on in here and look at this, Wade? I like that consistency, don't you?
I think it's good, yeah.
So, that's all there is to it.
And this will actually go on the warm
Yeah,
cake.
we'll take it out and you take it out of the tube pan too, right?
Yeah, flip it over, and then the cake's still warm, and then we'll glaze it and let it cool before we eat it.
Well, I'm gonna move because you know it's too hot to cook. I'm cooking right now.
You're cooking, and so is
Okay.
the cake. All right, first rotate of our Dutch oven. I'm trying to be pretty careful since it is a sloshy cake. 1/3 turn one way and top third turn the opposite direction, just like we always do with baking. All right, be back in 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to dump out these on the table real quick. Come on now. Started with 15 more coals. And we're going to put selection on the bottom, evenly spread. Let's see, do about 6 probably on the bottom. A little bit more than 1/3. And the rest will evenly spread on top.
And this is mid turning, so we'll have to come back and out and do another turn.
Yeah, this is about 35 minutes total cook time, so. All right, we'll be back.
You got one more there, dear.
Oh, yes I do. Okay, there. Now, all right, it's been 45 minutes.
Yep, let's check it.
Let's see, we're smelling it. When you start smelling...
Oh, there's the toothpicks.
Toothpicks? All right.
One thing about Dutch oven cooking, if you're smelling it, you better be looking.
You gotta be checking before long. Starting to brown on top.
Oh, yeah. It's
now,
done.
if it's done in the center, go all the way down. Because remember that one time it wasn't done in the center.
It's done.
All the way around. Right down in that center part. Think it's done.
Yep, I think
there.
it is too.
Alright, so now we're going to pull this out of here. I didn't bring anything to set it on, so we'll come back and get it now. I'll just pull it out with my gloves very carefully. Let it rest long enough to get it kind of where we can handle the thing. With a little knife around it. Plop it out upside down and hope it comes out good. So we'll be right back with that. Okay, well, before I get my gloves on, I better take my knife and I'm going to run it around. Still pretty warm, so I'm going to carefully run this around the outside. All the way around. And then we're going to carefully, just a little bit, right in here. Don't get too aggressive. Tighten it up. It's been cooling probably, what, about 10 minutes, Angel?
Oh, yeah.
Can't get them cool too much because sometimes they'll stick even worse.
I want to show you guys while he's doing that. Wait a minute, don't flip yet.
All right.
Look who's outside with us. We have a pint-sized supervisor.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to have to put my gloves back on because it's still pretty hot. Okay. Now what I'm going to try to do, turn my plate over, sit it on top. Try not to dump either one. If I can make it work. Okay. I heard it. Something fell. That's a good sign. All right, ready, Angel?
Tap it on top first.
I love tap. Ready?
Yep.
There we view.
Looky there.
Peel this off.
Perfection, honey.
Beautiful. It worked.
Yeah, now go ahead and dump the glaze over top.
Glaze that you made, give it one little last little stir. You just drizzle this slowly all over the top. Of course, while the cake is still warm. Lean down here or something. A little bit. That's all right. We'll get it all poured on.
Well, it is supposed to be down on the sides too, man.
Oh yeah, it'll get there.
Now, isn't that a pretty cake?
Last little bit on there. Beautiful cake.
Yep.
And it's going to be good and light enough so you fine for the summer. A lot of these flies around like it. Well, we better take it inside and let it finish cooling. Now we're going to let it finish mostly cooling before we actually cut into it. So we're also running out of light, so we may not get any more video, but we'll certainly get a picture of it after we get it cut.
I'm going to come in here because I want to say, if you like this video, please like with a thumbs up. Share us on Facebook or Instagram. And thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Maybe, well, a couple weeks we're going to be going camping.
Yep.
So hot or not.
Iris's first camping
Hot
trip.
or not, we're still going because we're going to meet some friends. See you next week.